If you have ever heard your child say mean things about themselves, things like, I'm the worst, or I ruin everything, or no one likes me, you probably responded the way most loving parents do. You've tried to cheer them up. You've reminded them how great they are. You've told them why they were wrong, because of course, so many people do like them. But if you've noticed that those responses don't actually help, that they almost seem to bounce right off of them or even make things worse, you are not imagining things. Today, I want to explain why those reassuring words don't work. And just as importantly, what's happening underneath that behavior, those mean things that they're saying about themselves, so that you can respond in a way that ultimately makes your child stronger in the long run. So let's talk about those moments. Maybe your child messes up on a school project and they say, I'm so stupid. Or they accidentally spill some juice and say, I ruin everything. Or you say no to a second dessert and they say, you don't love me. Those comments can run really deep for us, not only because we know they're not true, but it's because we can see what kind of pain our child is in when they're saying those words. And because we don't want to see our child hurting, we respond in a way that makes a lot of sense. We say, of course you're not stupid. You're so smart. And we tell them all the reasons that they're smart. Or we say, don't say that. Of course I love you. We try to cheer them up or talk them out of it. We try to tell them why they're wrong, that they are good and they are loved. And none of that is necessarily bad. It just doesn't work. And there's a reason why it doesn't work. Because when sensitive kids say mean things about themselves, what they're really saying is, this feeling I have inside is big and it's uncomfortable and it's too hard for me to handle right now. And unlike kids who explode outward when they're uncomfortable or in yuck, sensitive kids tend to turn their discomfort or yuck in on themselves. And it's not necessarily because they believe those mean things they're saying about themselves. It's because they're flooded with discomfort and they don't know another way to handle it. And this is why you telling them you're not stupid or of course I love you doesn't land. Because in that moment, they're not looking for the truth or even your perspective. They're just trying to deal with the storm that's going on inside of them. So our attempts to cheer them up or tell them they're wrong don't necessarily change their mind or make them feel differently. In fact, what happens is they still have this feeling inside, but now they feel more misunderstood and more alone with that feeling. So I want you to imagine what this would be like for you. Imagine you have lost your job and you really need a new job, but you are struggling. You're not able to find a new job. And someone comes along and sees that you are feeling a little bit hopeless. And because this person cares about you, they say, oh, you're going to be fine. You found jobs before. You'll find another job now. You're not all of a sudden going to say, hey, you're right. I'm going to find another job. No, what you're probably going to think is they don't get it. They don't understand how hard this is for me right now. And that's really what your child is thinking in that moment. They think, you don't get it. You don't understand how hard this is for me right now. So let's go back to another example with a child. Let's say your child is doing an art project where they're building with Legos and they mess up and they say, oh, I ruin everything. And your instinct is going to be to say, you don't ruin everything. You're great at making art or you're great at building things. But in that moment, they don't feel like they're great at making art or building things. And the mismatch between what they're feeling and what you're telling them just creates more frustration for them. So now instead of feeling better, they feel worse. And that's why they scream more or shut down because their discomfort wasn't seen. It was brushed away, even though it was done with such good intentions. So, what does help? It starts with one simple shift. Instead of trying to fix the way they feel with words, support the way they feel with your energy and with your understanding that in that moment they are struggling. When you sit with them in it, they are less alone in the moment and they become stronger in the long run. And that is more powerful than anything you could think of to say. Now, if you're thinking this sounds good, but you really want to understand what this is like for your child, I have a free resource for you that is interactive and takes just a couple of minutes to go through and helps you understand what is going on for your child. And you'll feel more confident in your ability to handle it when your child says mean things about themselves in a way that supports you and supports your child. That free resource is below the video, so check it out.